listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Well, all right. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be with you here today. Thanks for being with us. It's going to be a great show. Looking forward to it. It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday, January the 25th, 2023. I can't believe where the time is going already. It's this winter is just flying by. It's already the Chinese New Year is already passed on January the 21st. And we passed solstice. So from now on, all of the days are getting longer. The light that we have is getting longer, which is really, really great. And it's always a sign that summer is coming, right? So there's the dread of some. Some people love winter, and that's fine. But a lot of people love the sun, and they like what the sun brings, and they look forward to it, myself included. And so, as the days start getting longer, it's a good thing. And just want to say good morning to Shane. Thanks for being with us. Good morning, Shane. Hope you're having a good one. We were expecting a Nick to be on board at some point. Not sure if she's going to be or not. Sometimes there's technical difficulties and things. So if she comes on, that's great. And that's good. We got so much to cover today, and I'm sure we can get through this. But we're expecting a Nick. Was the plan. And good morning, Monique. Thanks for being with us today. Good to see you on. And we're on CKLU 96.7 FM. If you're listening, you probably noticed that we had our intro kind of botched up a bit and just played it again. So a little bit of technical stuff going on there. So I apologize for that. However, it is what it is. You can't really do what you can't do. But anyways, we're getting her done this morning. So together we'll get through it. Good morning, David. Thanks for being with us as well. Yes. Good morning. Stay safe. David, hope you're having a good morning. We are on CKLU each and every weekday morning, 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. And we're also streaming at cklu.ca. You just, you hit the Radio Player Canada app and a player opens and you can stream us. You can also download that same Radio Player Canada app, take us with you anywhere, anytime, and listen to us on your favorite device. Now, we're also on Facebook and YouTube Live, facebook.com/Sudbury News and youtube.com/Sudbury News. I'd love to just give a shout out to the Facebook and YouTube moderators who have a job to do, which is not easy. So good morning to you as well. I know you have to, unfortunately, listen to us or watch us to keep on top of things, and also many, many other shows to make sure the content on your platforms are, abiding by the community standards. So thank you very much. And good morning, Denise. Thank you for being with us. Hope you're having a good morning as well. And let's get on with the conversation. We're here, Sudbury News Talk, and we're going to start off as we do each and every morning, which I had a coworker say she checks in every morning for the weather. She has to drive to work after, so she's only able to stick on so long, but she knows at the beginning of the show she's going to get a weather forecast, which is opposite of any other show of its kind. News usually has the weather at the end. So anyways, let's just get started with this. We'll have some sports, we'll have some headlines, and some conversation this morning about local news and events that are important to us and that are happening now. We'll be back right after this. So our Sudbury weather today is brought to you by sudburyweather.ca, and that lands on our Sudbury.news Sudbury.news website. It says we're just working on that website. It's constantly getting some upgrades and things like that. So make sure to check in what the website is. It's everything Sudbury News landing on one feed. So you know how if you're to go to any of the local news sources themselves, they're going to have local, provincial, and national and international news all in their feeds, where this just extracts the local and keeps it all Sudbury centric, right? Whether it's news, weather, or sports, it is Sudbury centric, so that you can know for sure that that you're getting Sudbury news there. All right, so currently it is minus 11 degrees, feels like minus 17. We got some light snow, and today we can expect flurries, local amount of 2 to 4 centimeters, light wind, high of minus 4. The wind chill will be minus 16 this morning and then minus 8 this afternoon. Tonight, periods of snow, amount of 2 to 4 centimeters, wind again mild, low of minus 8, and the wind chill will feel like minus 11 overnight. And this evening, minus 11 in the evening and then minus 17 overnight. And then Thursday, mainly cloudy. That's tomorrow. Wind is moderate. Temperature steady near minus 8. Wind chill minus 18. So again, I think as we get towards this weekend, we're going to be experiencing some actually seasonal temperatures, but colder than we're getting now. Again, so Thursday, minus 8, mainly cloudy. Friday, chance of flurries in the range of 60%. Minus 4 is your high. Saturday, minus 10 is the high. 30% chance of flurries. And then minus 12, you got your, not a problem, Nick. You got time. Minus 12 is the high for Sunday, and probability of precipitation in the form of flurries would be 40%. And then Monday's calling for a mix of sun and cloud, high of 14, high of 11 on Tuesday. But again, when you're getting that far ahead, it's hard to tell. But as you can see, we're into the double-digit negative temperatures as our highs now. And then overnight, we're going to get closer to the negative 20s overnight as we go into the weekend. So expect a little bit lower temperatures. Colder temperatures. And then if you have a vehicle that you need to plug in, make sure it's plugged in, because you want to make sure you can start it in the morning. Look at your satellite. A lot more clearing going up in the far north. But as you can see, mainly cloudy anywhere from, anywhere where people live south of that. So there you have it. It's your weather forecast today, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with some sports right after this. All right, Sudbury Sports brought to you by SudburySports.com. That's Randy's website, Randy Pascal. He is that Sudbury Sports guy. And everything he reports on basically lands on SudburySports.com. You can catch all things Sudbury Sports. Beginning today, a bit of varsity news, sports news. Collège Boreal and Cambrian are combining to host the Ontario College Athletic Association East and West Regional Badminton Championships. This year, this is Andrea Boyce, Varsity Sports Fitness Center and coordinator at Collège Boreal, says, this year we're so excited to be hosting the regional championships for the first time, along with our friendly rivals, Cambrian College. It's going to feature high-level badminton, and we're looking forward to putting on a great tournament and showcasing our city in the process. The matches include men's singles and doubles, women's singles and doubles, mixed doubles. Play begins Friday, February 3rd at 11 a.m. in both Boreal and Cambrian gyms. Championship games will be held on Saturday. The public is invited to attend, and will also be available to watch the event through live stream. So if you go on our Facebook page, you can see that story. Just look for the big badminton picture there and click on it, and it will give you the links for the live stream, also Cambrian College website and Collège Boreal's website. You also have the media contacts for both organizations if that's something that you want to know more about. The Sudbury Wolves are unveiling their Indigenous jerseys ahead of the next home game this Friday. So players will hit the ice Friday with the new jerseys that will reflect the region's Indigenous people and culture. CTV did a great story on this. Let's just check in with them. We'll be right back after CTV's coverage.
It's a special jersey rooted in Indigenous culture. It was designed by Melanie Lacaire of Shagagamaqwe Health Center, also called SKHC, and a local Indigenous artist, Raven DeBosky. She says she wanted to design a jersey that encapsulates Indigenous pride.
My culture, Shagagamaqwe, but also Sudbury Wolves. So I just sort of wanted to make something that everybody would be proud of, including myself.
She says her design on the hockey jerseys involves plenty of symbolism.
There is, of course, an Indigenous iteration of the wolf itself, but alongside with it, I wanted it to contain further storytelling, or I guess you could say symbolism, some of which is Grandmother Moon. And I also have a lot of florals in the numbers, in the patterns, the trim underneath.
The jerseys will be auctioned off with the proceeds going towards a mental wellness and sports program at SKHC in support of local Indigenous youth. The health center has a long-standing relationship with the Sudbury Wolves, and leaders say it's important to foster those partnerships as part of truth and reconciliation.
Not just as individual organizations, but as community builders and community protectors. So we've been working diligently throughout decades to try and break down stereotypes and educate, mainstream society on what true partnerships look like.
Wolves owner Dario Zulich says he has wanted to organize a game like this to celebrate Indigenous culture ever since he acquired the team.
I thought it was a great way to honor them and celebrate with them their culture and their history of our country.
Zulich says he plans on making the Indigenous Celebration Game an annual event and says he hopes it inspires other teams in the OHL and across Canada to do something similar. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. I always like the idea of the different jerseys. Kind of, it's just changes things up, and it's a part of a celebration of something at the same time as well. And speaking of that, there is a former hockey player from Sudbury who's making an impact on the fashion world, and that's a pretty neat thing. It's not every day that, you get something like that to happen. So I know CTV also covered this, so we'll be back right after this.
Fashion designer who is originally from the Sudbury area and was once a junior hockey player continues to show his work at major shows around the world.
But this past weekend, Cameron Lizotte got a pretty big audience for one of his pieces when high-profile hockey host Ron McLean wore one of his jackets. CTV's Ashley Bacon reports.
Ron was looking like dripped out.
Designer Cameron Lizotte grew up in Sudbury and went on to play in the OHL before getting into fashion design. This past weekend, broadcaster Ron McLean was sporting a creation of Cameron's throughout the Hockey Day in Canada show from Owen Sound. Lizotte calling the experience a full circle moment.
I'm very honored to still have an impact on hockey. It's cool that they're still, the hockey world's still wondering what I'm up to. And it feels really good that the support's there. And I hope I can only make hockey more fashionable.
In 2016, Lizotte started his own label, Atelier Coin. Since then, he has been recognized internationally for his designs. He had a show featured at Paris Fashion Week 2022 as a collection of emerging brands.
Amazing moment. It felt like a hockey game, like the blood flowing. And right after that, I showed that same collection in Vancouver a month after. And then I won Best Emerging Designer out of British Columbia.
Now that he's had a taste of the world stage, he says his next goal is to continue to build his brand in Canada and beyond. Lizotte says it's so important to remember where he comes from and draws on inspiration from his upbringing.
I like to make warm things. I don't like to make, like spring, summer. It's still leaning on the spring side, so Sudbury will always give me the inspiration I need, because that's where the name comes from. I named my brand after the city.
So what's next for Lizotte is he has his first standalone show in Paris in March, and he's looking to Toronto for a brick and mortar location in the coming months.
Awesome stuff there. It's not every day you get a fashion designer from Sudbury, let alone a former hockey player who gets to have his stuff featured on a stage like that and have that kind of success, and then get it, have someone like Ron McLean wearing it on Hockey Day in Canada, I guess you could say. Pretty awesome. And speaking of awesome, a headline from the Sudbury Star. This will round out our Sudbury sports this morning. Led by CFL quarterback Laurentian wins 3 medals at track meet. I have the story right here. So, let's see here. Oh, why is that at the bottom? That does not make any sense. So, look at that. Something weird has happened. It won't be the first time. It definitely won't be the last. Sudbury's track and field team returned home with 3 medals from the Don Wright Challenge hosted by Western University in London this past weekend. Let's see here. So, V's coach, Darren German, said in a release, Trey Ford has been an excellent addition to our team this year. He is coming off his rookie season as the starting quarterback for the Edmonton Elks, formerly the Eskimos, in the CFL, but he is also an accomplished sprinter, having placed 5th in the 60 meters at the U Sports Championships last season while competing for the University of Waterloo. So Trey brings a very positive work ethic and energy to practice, and it must be rubbing off on Tristan as he continues to improve each time he races. Tristan is only in his second year, but is already in the top 6 all-time in school history and has won 2 different events. So Tristan Roche of Saint Six, Quebec, I'm probably slaughtering the pronunciation there, and also Trey Ford of Niagara Falls. So bringing home medals for Sudbury. Congratulations there. You can read the whole story right on our Facebook page. It comes from Sudbury Star, so you can go directly to the Sudbury Star's Facebook page to read all about that and more. That is your Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.com. That's Randy Pascal's sports website, SudburySports.com, for all your Sudbury sports. We'll be back with the Nick Gervais headlines and a lot of great conversation with all y'all right after this. All right, and Nick Gervais is with us this morning. How are you doing this morning, Nick?
I'm good, Aaron. How are you?
I'm doing not too bad. So you got a bit of a late start, but you're here. That's great.
Yeah. My alarm. Well, actually, I forgot to put my alarm on last night, and then my phone was on silent. So that's that.
It is what it is,
but
right?
Here I am.
Yeah, you're here. That's the main thing.
Got to roll with the punches.
Roll with the punches. So we got YouTube here saying "Sup, what's up?" And then Cliff, good morning. And Diane, good morning, everyone. Bon matin à toi. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Bon matin à tout.
Bon matin à tout. Correctement. And then Miles says, according to him, the story we shared about the fashion designer hockey player, he played a few shifts in the NHL too, which is kind of cool. Thank you for that.
That was really cool.
Yeah,
it's cool to see like a hockey player become fashion designer. It's different. Yeah, it's out of the box. I'm all about it.
Huge story. And his jacket actually looked pretty cool. I wouldn't mind one of those. This is really cool with the, the lightning bolts on the back, and this looks very cool. So yeah, my French, I'm gonna have to get better at. My pronunciation, just because, right? Like if we're constantly, sharing stories from Canada and here, I need to really work. So maybe you can help me on that one at some point. We could do
Let's start some French classes.
some French classes, which I do need to learn French anyways. So this gives me an opportunity. So not only depends how good I can learn the actual language, but at least I can get some pronunciation correct through everything. So
it's true.
Yeah, a lot of stories here. So let's dive right in. This was covered two different ways from two different news sources. Sudbury man charged with sex assault and threats. So this was from the Sudbury Star, and they actually gave the name of the individual, whereas CTV said that the police didn't release any other information, including the man's name, which I thought was interesting, and said that they that's all they can say. They wanted to protect the individuals who might be involved, but Sudbury Star shared the name. So it is what it is. So this was the story.
On Thursday last week, they arrested Anthony Corallo, 61, in relation to alleged attacks.
Exactly. So they named...
He has been charged with 3 counts of sexual assault.
Yeah.
And bodily harm. You know what, Aaron? Our Facebook world kind of blew up yesterday because there's this other sex offender that lives in Hanmer, and everyone's talking about him. His name's Doug. And he's been charged multiple times and didn't have to go to prison. And yesterday I was at my girlfriend's house and someone didn't pay some back taxes for childcare. And this guy's a great guy. He's a great guy. And he had to go to Mexico. When he came back, he ended up going to prison for 20 days. 20 days. He had to pay the $14,000, which he wasn't even in arrears. It's just, women just sometimes, some just keep sending you to court over and over and over and over again. And he's just like sick of it because he's a legit good guy. And he's like, she just thinks that he's making more money. In the end, he was making less, so he had to pay her less. So he kind of went against her. But he had to do prison for 25 days for not paying certain taxes. But these sex offenders, Aaron, are just getting off so easily. And this is probably the worst thing you could do to a human being.
Yeah.
So it's kind of disgusting.
It is.
And we should know their names and we should know where they live.
Yeah, and that's what I thought was interesting. The CTV story did not give the name of the individual, and I just thought, okay, it said because they wanted to protect those who were victims, possibly, because then people would know the name and then say, oh, that person must have been one of the victims.
Right, but I don't know the victim. Like, you might know this guy, but I don't know the victim, so I feel like that's just and I think the victims would want people to know their name.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
See, so it says, due to the sensitive nature of the incidents and to protect the survivors' identities, no further details will be provided regarding the incidents, police said. Now, then Sudbury Star, I think, went a little further and said on Thursday last week, police arrested Anthony Corallo, 61, in relation to the alleged attacks. So, and then it said he was released on an undertaking with a court date of March 1st to answer to the charges.
So about this, my friend who went to jail, he wasn't even allowed to do bail. He's never been convicted of anything in the past, and he wasn't even allowed to have bail. But a sex offender is allowed to have bail and wait till his court date.
And we are starting to see the catch and release kind of thing. We're starting to see the changes in our justice system. And they are because of an ideology that's been adopted. And it's the fruits of it, or what's happening, is what you're saying right now. Like, how weird is it that ... someone charged like this is just let go, and then someone who doesn't pay a $20 fine has to go to jail, kind of thing, right? So we're getting this, and it was similar to like back when they were releasing all the prisoners because they might get COVID. They were releasing them, but then they were arresting
they put them
people
back into jail.
Well, they were arresting. I hope so. I don't even know. We should look into that.
And where did they go?
I don't know exactly, but they were arresting people who weren't abiding by the mandates and bringing them.
Right.
And they weren't saying anything about them possibly getting COVID. So How weird. And you just got to give your head a shake, just the people who just take news in and just take it for what it is without asking questions. What's up with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And now you look at this, like you said, there's deeper stuff going on with our justice system and the changes that are happening.
And I had heard about another convicted sex offender. He had something like 200 hours of child pornography on his computer and 2 attempts with 2 children, and he's out on the streets now.
Yeah.
Those people need to be in prison.
Yeah.
And probably castrated.
Now
That's
there's
my opinion.
and you
That
know
is my
them.
personal opinion.
Well, yeah, that's true. And again, the opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of Laurentian University or those of CKLU. They're that entirely of the individuals on this show, which today would be a Nick and AJ. So that's a little disclaimer there. Yeah, and there is a movement, as you can see. You know, there's a movement to help normalize that whole type of thing, and the verbiage minor attractedness is like there to soften the pedophilia bad name. So instead of calling it a pedophile or pedophilia, you say minor attracted individual. They're attracted to minors. It's normal, or it's more normal than you think, and whatever, and trying to kind of put it in that way. But I call a spade, and
Yeah, Aaron.
whatever,
We live in a circus these days. Nothing makes sense. It seems it's all for entertainment. It's has no common sense, and it's really, really unfortunate because it's destroying our children. It's I feel like it's a personal attack on our children.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make any sense. And you'll hear about this whole pedophilia thing, that it's actually a really, really bigger problem in the world that no one's really talking about. And there's this ex-CIA agent, and he was saying how there's 5 generations of children living underground.
Wow.
There's just a whole rabbit hole. We're not going to go into that, but people really need to open up their eyes and realize that why are these sex offenders getting off on the streets? Like, maybe it's because there's way more sex offenders, and I don't know. I think there's way more pedos out there than we're being told.
And I don't mind the rabbit hole, and I was going to bring this up anyways. It's kind of linked with the whole human trafficking idea. I think they're connected. I think they're cousins to each other, or brothers and sisters, or however you want to look at it. Because this idea of if you're minor attracted, and you know that society is against it, which society is making a big push to make it not as taboo, but right now it is. And so if you want to act on those impulses or those urges or those temptations, then, the whole human trafficking thing comes into play, and you could, prostitution, that's what a lot of human trafficking is used for. And I think a lot of minors, a lot of young people, unfortunately, are brought into that, right? So yeah, it is scary, and we need to talk about these things, I believe. And
we do.
Yeah, you have to talk about them.
We can't just put a blinder on. We need to protect our children. And one lady that I was listening to her podcast, because this is what she deep dives all the time and been researching and been helping these individuals. When a single woman is having problems with the father not being around, she's being targeted. She's actually being targeted in the court system, so that it's an infiltration on the inside, saying this woman has zero support. Woman has nobody. She would be a great victim to kidnap her child and herself.
Yeah, exactly.
Because no one would notice if she's disappeared, and no one would notice if she died.
Yeah.
So really sad. It's a really sad. We can't keep just closing our eyes on these things. And someone that has a daughter, I'm having a problem too, that if you consider yourself a woman, you could literally come, we went swimming, you could literally come in my change room and you could be a full-blown, pedophile, and now you're staring at other women who are naked, and this Doug guy from Hanmer, he could do that. He can just go to family swim.
Yeah. Well, I know. And that's again, right? And people need to be outraged a bit. And the way to do that is actually to not be hardened and not just kind of gloss over these things, and imagine yourself or your loved one, your daughter, your son, getting involved or having this affect them, whether it's, somebody sexually abusing them. And I know, and unfortunately, many of our people in our society have been, and it's traumatic, and even bringing it up sometimes is too painful. And so we kind of bury it, and it's unfortunate. But imagine if our kids are affected by that or taken in human trafficking. Now it's going to affect you. Now you're going to care, but you don't have to get to that point to actually care about something. You can actually just put yourself in those shoes and imagine it. And it is real. It's happening. So
it's real.
Something needs to be done about it.
There's no protection for women anymore. Really, if you think about it, men are allowed to come in our change rooms.
Yep.
There's no protection. And if you are, I understand some people are legit transgender, but there are also pedophiles that this is a massive loophole for them. If I was a pedophile, that's what I would do. I would just pretend I want to be a woman, because that's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Today I could be a woman. Today I could be a man.
Yeah.
And there's no credibility here.
No, exactly. There's no way to here. Give me your card to make sure you're authentically somebody that is, legitimately in this, ballpark. Good morning, Jennifer. Thanks for being with us today. We're doing a deep dive right off the bat with a Nick. We can't help but do that. Now, there is a solution in terms of bathrooms with this, and Walmart, of all places, is kind of an example of this. You have the men's washroom, the women's washroom, and then you have the family washroom. So there's a solution there. You have a washroom for everyone, kind of thing, and you go in, you lock it, you do your thing, and you come out.
So you're telling me the family washroom's a washroom for everyone?
Well, it's not that it's because you only go in there and you lock the door, right? So it's only one person uses it at a time. So to me, that is one solution. Or then if it's not, then you have a washroom that's for everyone, men and women. And hey, some people don't care. Like half the time I couldn't care. If I was in a washroom and a woman was in a stall somewhere and I was at the other end of the washroom, honestly, I had to go bad enough. I honestly wouldn't care. So
well, I know that I've gone in men's washroom often because I had to pee, and the lineup for the women's washroom is so long that
there
I'm
you
just
go.
sneaking to a stall.
So you did the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
so
a federal crime.
Yeah. Contact your local MP.
Okay. Put pressure on him about the issue.
There you go. That is the only way to really get things done. A little bit along these same lines, and to bring it back to a local story, Rainbow Board puts brakes on drag event. This is Sudbury.com reporting this after putting the brakes on a drag event that was set to take place at Llewellyn Park Secondary School in February. The Rainbow District School Board says it's gathering more information on the proposed show. The show in question is called the Courage Across Canada Tour and features a particular person who was, again, the pronunciation, Assissus Couture. I guess I'm going to take a stab at it. The winner of Canada's drag race, along with other drag performers. It's presented by the International Day of Pink. The tour will be visiting 10 communities, sharing drag and stories at local schools by day and celebrating with free performances at local venues by night. The Sudbury stop is on February 10th, with a show set to take place at Ziggs that evening. The Courage Tour was also supposed to put on a show at Llewellyn on February 10th, but as of this point, the Rainbow School Board says the performance does not have their approval. An online petition started by a Llewellyn student that demands the Rainbow Board reinstate the event had nearly 1,200 signatures as of yesterday morning.
Is a drag show a family appropriate show?
That's what our society is questioning at this point. Yes, we are.
Are we questioning it, Aaron?
We are. Our society is.
Very few people questioning this.
I don't know.
Because
the media says there's more people in favor of it than not, and they point that out at any of the televised or covered stories. One in the Sioux and one out in the West. The reporters were very adamant at saying there's way more support for it, and they show the big crowds inside, and everybody's excited, and there's
with their children.
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
men half dressed. Like
Yeah.
if I dressed like they did, it would be extremely inappropriate.
Yeah.
It's just so backwards to me. And
Yeah.
they're like shaking their thing, and they're doing really obnoxious dance moves. I would never want to bring my child there. The Catholic Church has been protecting pedophiles for years. They've moved them around for years. Brian, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So they've put a stop on it. I think that's what Jennifer is alluding to here. They put a stop to it so far, but there are 1,200. That's a for a high school, for a petition. That is a lot of signatures. 1,200.
Well, it's just Yes,
So-
but they don't even realize. When I was younger, I didn't realize. Well, also these children like to wear thong underwear, thong bathing suits. So we've sexualized our children and made it okay that it's being creative but no, what are you going to attract when you're wearing thong bathing suit? You're going to attract, a pedo. So
Well,
it's
I would
just
say, yeah, there is
and
a
that
movement.
And of course it's entertaining for them but I mean like as a child, a toddler. People are bringing toddlers and I'm even seeing a lot of the LGBTQ community come out and say like, I am not pro this. I am not pro. And a lot of them are coming out and saying this is inappropriate. Just the fact that it's okay. We could accept it, but we don't need to accept it in the morning show. It's a night show.
Kind of thing, right? And they are going to be performing at Ziggs, and people who are of age who choose to see that for the reasons they're choosing are when kids are a little bit more impressionable, right? And what they're telling them. And Cliff comes up with a really great solution. He says, or maybe, just maybe, keep the school for school stuff and leave that crap for parents who choose to expose their kids to it. Kind of thing, right?
Amen.
Now, again, school used to be about English, math, French, if you're French, science, geography. It's become more and more political and ideological, and it's become somewhat of a church in some respects. I felt like I was going to church in university. It was the Marxist church. That's what I felt like, because everything was, the first class I got was, okay, today we're going to learn about Marxism. And there's a reason for that, because everything you're going to hear for your whole time in university is going to be based on this. Honestly, that's exactly the way I started my university. And they are, if you go into...
It's very odd. I definitely am opposed to all of this. I can see right through what they're doing. And the fact that a lot of people can't really see, but that doesn't surprise me from the past 3 years that a lot of people can't see what's really happening. It's really sad, and we're going to need to protect our own children in our own way. And I'm just waiting for someone to start a homeschool in Hanmer or Sudbury or something that I can bring my daughter.
Yeah, so Jennifer agrees too. Thank you. Makes sense. Let's keep school for math, science, and all the things kids need to learn. They missed so much with the stupid COVID and all the lockdowns.
Yes.
That's Jennifer. Well, definitely. They did miss out on a lot. So now it's time to get back to learning.
Watched a student speaking. She was sharing what she was learning in first year nursing. And she says, this is what I'm learning in first year nursing. This is what's happening right now. And they were talking, it's a case study about the nurse that showed up at the, at a protest, and that she lost her license. This is what they're teaching nurses, like kind of creating this big fear that do not support any type of movement or go outside what we believe in, because you will not be a nurse. So the programming and the culting is happening right away.
Yeah, 100%. I know Miles is saying, some people are saying, if you don't believe what we believe, then you hate us. If you don't accept these activities. And he says it's a bizarre world out there, which is true. Jennifer agrees. Schools should just be for learning and not teaching us ethics and morals in a certain way. Like before, you had ethics and morals via religion, and everyone was opposed to that. And I'm okay with keeping religion separate from school. But another religion is actually taking its place now, is secularism and all of its kind of commandments. Thou shalt ... thou shalt not ... They're just replacing them from the religious ones to the new societal norm ones, and they have the things that they're promoting, and it's just changed. So basically, a religion is a belief in a ideology. So whatever you believe in is your religious convictions. Some people say, I don't have religious convictions. Well, every day of your life is religion. How you live your life, what you spend the most time in, what you worship is what you care about, what you value, all these things. You can just basically say that's your religion, is your life, how you live it, what you believe in.
Yeah.
So I accept it, just not in school.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I believe everyone should be allowed to live the way they want. So if I believe in a religion that goes, out to people and talks to them, people have a problem with that, right? Your religion shouldn't be going out and talking to people, trying to convert them. That's wrong.
It's true.
And then right away they're like, no, but there's another religion out there that's trying to convert people in our schools and stuff. And that's okay. You know what I mean? So you say one is wrong. You should keep your religious thoughts to yourself. Don't be telling me about it. But yet there's another side that says, no, you have to believe these things and go along with it. So that is the society we do live in.
That is that's when you can see the fruit happening. It just proves that this is happening. There's a 4-year-old in Canada transitioning. A 4-year-old. I'm sorry, but those parents should be put in jail. But here's the thing. They're protected.
And they're applauded.
They found out that this 4-year-old wants to transition. The parents can go in prison. That is our system right now in Canada.
Yeah, if the parents stop the 4-year-old from doing it.
Transitioning.
Yeah, they'll go to jail, yeah.
They
for
can.
Stopping.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the world we do live in. Whether you think it's right or wrong, we do live there.
It's 100% wrong.
And okay, exactly. Yeah, I just think by saying it, I think maybe some of us will, I guess, almost like a cold water splash in our face kind of thing. Now, they're having, let's see, Jennifer says, you need to deep dive into Eau Chateau and sturgeon.
Ooh.
Please, I don't know anything about this. It's ridiculous what's happening. Mandates on vaccines still. Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's going on everywhere. Like in our hospitals, our city, you still can't get a job unless you're vaccinated. They haven't dropped that. North Bay's dropped it, but Sudbury hasn't. There's all kinds of stuff going on everywhere. Going to a hospital, it's still like the beginning of COVID. Nothing's changed at all. You got to put your mask on right away.
The data is very scary, Aaron. Like the science is out.
Yeah.
There's zero protection from the jab. It doesn't protect you, but it actually causes more harm than protection. Like the science is out. So it's very confusing to me because there is data out there. And if you do trust in science, you should go and understand that these mandates are very dangerous. And, the school boards should not send letters to their parents saying, we highly recommend you vaccinating your child.
100%. Yep. More than 2.7 million paid to 50 claimants of serious injury connected to a vaccine in Canada. That's reported by ctvnews.ca.
Oh.
Yep. So according to new statistics, Canada's vaccine injury support program has approved or paid out more than 2.7 million in claimants since the program opened in 2021. So far, 50 claims of serious and permanent injury connected to a vaccine authorized by Health Canada have been approved. So they had to prove that it was vaccine. That's not easy to do. So if there's 50 that actually were able to get through that whole process, there must be way more than that. Between June 2021 and December 2022, the program received 1,300 claims, 209 of which were determined to be inadmissible because they either didn't meet the eligibility, right, criteria. That's what I mean. So the fact that 50 even got through is interesting. So I just wanted to back you up on what you were just saying there. So this is big. People are talking and protesting. Caregivers are refused to go in if not vaccinated. It's a retirement home. North Bay and Sudbury no longer have this mandate in place, but in Sturgeon it does. Oh, I thought Sudbury did. I thought we did in Sudbury.
I think it depends which one.
Maybe. I know the city for sure does still have that. You have to be in order to be a city employee.
The city, I believe you just need number 1 and number 2 because I think they're on number 5 now.
Are they? Okay.
Right? The booster. So that's at least there's that.
So for everyone, I just heard through the grapevine, the FDA in the United States is going to approve a new flu shot that has the COVID shot mixed in it, kind of thing. So it's going to be your flu COVID shot. They're going to give it once a year. So that way it'll make up for anyone who has not been vaccinated before. They can now have a chance to just get this annual flu shot every year to know that. So I think they're going down that road, and they're going to make sure unless you have that, you're not going to be able to have all of the privileges in society kind of thing. So that's where we're heading. To have your one shot a year. So you need that, or you can't do anything.
I'm actually surprised that it's only going to be one shot a year. So
yeah, well, that's what their plan was in the first place. They wanted everyone to get their flu shot every year, and when that didn't work out, this was the pharmaceuticals companies admitting this. When they didn't happen, that people are like, I don't need a flu shot. I'm fine. I get sick when I get the flu shot. Why would I want to get a flu shot? So then when COVID came out, they're like, oh yes, we got a reason. Everyone's going to be on board with this, and then the governments will make it so you have to get it. That way, now mission accomplished kind of thing. So PIO, I don't know what that means. PIO.NE, is that what you're saying? I'm not sure, Miles. Is that what it says in it? Does it say
yes.
PIO? Okay.
PIO. It's interesting because there's like this study that there's been like a massive decrease in the flu. And then they look at the massive decrease of flu shots. And people are like,
Yeah. I don't know. There was a time when people didn't really trust pharmaceutical companies. They thought,
why would I trust them?
But it seems
why would anyone trust pharmaceutical companies? There's also data that came out. They spend way more money in marketing than they do in research.
Yeah.
Significantly
and that's what we thought.
More.
If it was so, why would they have had to market the solution they had with the jab back in the day? Just recently had to market it so heavily. If people were dropping like flies everywhere, wouldn't you think people would be running to get it? Why would they have to market it so heavily? That's the one thing I always thought, because I'm in marketing, I'm communications, something that I love and I study and I do in my spare time. And I thought that's weird that they'd have to really market it, come up with a jingle, come up with taglines, look at me, come up with all the celebrities promoting it. Roll up your sleeve, it's like, why do you have to do that? Yeah.
All these major sports, the commercials, sponsored by Pfizer.
Yeah. They're the main sponsors for these 24-hour news stations. If you look at how much money comes in, they're the main sponsors. So, hey, if you're sponsoring the news, as if they're going to come out and say anything against your message kind of thing. Pioneer Manor accepting non-vaccinated visitors. What about caregivers?
Right.
So, visitors since last year. I know I went to visit my dad too, and they were very, very stringent with their policy of even visitors coming in. So you got to do the test. They ask you if you're vaccinated. They make sure you're not able to visit your loved one unless you are, and that was in the Sioux anyways. So now if you want to bring some of these things up to your local politicians, a good opportunity would be Capriol is going to be hosting. The mayor will be there with the Nickel Belt MP, Mark Serre. And if you listen, Go ahead.
I'm reading this article, and
Yep.
was there any information about this meeting that was going to happen?
Which meeting are we talking about?
The meeting you're talking about, town hall on Wednesday.
Town hall tonight?
Oh, are we Wednesday today?
Yep.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad.
So this is the
day
news.
Before, everyone's just getting
Yeah.
information the day before
Yeah,
the
big
meeting.
town hall. Well, I don't know. Maybe they had some way of getting information out too. That I'm just seeing it now.
Well,
don't
I
know.
live in the area. This is
Yeah.
my district.
Yeah. Well, at least we're talking about it now. So if you don't have plans for tonight, make sure to put
I
this
have
on your
jujitsu.
schedule. Yeah. Well, we'll just have to. So join Nickel Belt MP Marc Serret and Greater Sudbury Mayor Paul Lefebvre as they host a joint town hall meeting. Now, if anyone goes, I just want you to pay attention to both of them talking and close your eyes after and see if you can pick out which one's talking. Because they sound exactly the same. They speak, it's like they're the same person. They're linked into some kind of force out there that they sound like the same exact person. They say the same things. They answer the same questions the same way. I just want you to practice that. Like when they're talking, close your eyes and say, okay, which one's talking? Can I guess? And good luck with that because it's hard. They both sound exactly the same. The purpose of this event is to have constructive conversations regarding community housing needs and to provide information regarding community housing funding opportunities. So it is a housing related themed meeting. Ward councilor from Ward 7, Natalie Labby, will also be on hand as the moderator of the discussions, which is cool. She listens to the show and watches. She sent me a really great article, which I guess tomorrow will have to be, or Friday, we'll be talking about that. There's a fella in Aurelia. He's homeless. And he's deciding to take the procedure, medical assistance in death, due to his circumstances and the way the world is. So we'll be talking about that later. The way the world is going. Yeah. And his, I guess, unfortunate circumstances.
Well, he doesn't want to be homeless. This is actually happening
Yeah.
a lot. And I was at a house party and my friends didn't realize this was actually happening. They're like, no, Nick. Is this man in Sudbury or just in Ontario?
Aurelia, which is just
Aurelia.
Yeah, kind of northeast of Barrie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sad.
It's yeah. So tonight's town hall meeting, if you want to attend, it will be 6:30 to 8:30 in the upper hall of the Cape Real Arena. Apparently, really nice, refurbished up there, all redone, all nicey, according to Natalie. So Cliff saying he's got a band from the Cote Gold Mine near the watershed just last week because after 3 years of no problems delivering to that site, they've now decided to crack down on unvaccinated workers entering the site. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think a lot of people are more forceful now than ever for some reason. I'm not sure why. It's almost like politicians have scripted lines, LOL. That's true. I still respectfully disagree about the vaccine. I contracted the virus last year with little and almost no symptoms. I had 5 jabs with no adverse effects. And yeah, just because people are having adverse effects doesn't mean everyone are going to have those effects either. But now the research is out that more people are in hospital with COVID who are vaccinated than who are not. So now those results are out. Whereas before it was very early on. So people were saying, no, people are in hospital because they're unvaccinated. So now it's not the case. Exactly. So, and there are people having adverse effects who wouldn't have had those if they didn't get that. You saw
Children are now, something like 45 children died since November of sudden deaths in Canada and heart attacks. Children are dying now suddenly with no cause of death. And kids are now dying of heart attacks, but no one knows why. No one knows why.
They brought in this new thing called sudden death syndrome.
Yes.
To kind of give it a name, sudden death syndrome, right? That's a thing now. Natalie's saying, though, just to go back to the town hall meeting tonight in Cape Real, it is just on housing. So if people want to kind of get into other things, that's not the forum. It is on housing.
And she did say that it was posted last week, but she couldn't post it any earlier, even though that's what she wanted to do.
And you know what? We're all last minute people anyways. That's what I think. If I see something a week before, it's gone by the time it happens. You know what I mean? If it's not right before, we're kind of last minute people a lot of the time.
I think that there should be a system where everyone gets a text message. That's the way to get information out from the city. If you want to know what's going on with your people, send us a text and let us know that this is happening tonight, because the city has been able to do that.
For sure.
So I think that would be a great service.
And she's also saying there's been a long-term care facility in the plans for at least 20 years.
Wow.
And they want to kind of get shovels in the ground there and make it happen. So this is a way to kind of get people involved in making that happen. What research by who? Easy to say, respectfully, need to research. Let me know. Oh, for sure, Miles. That's not a problem. My God, it's all out there. You could easily find that information yourself. If you want me to get it, that's not a problem. I'll have it on the show for Friday when we're talking about medical assistance in death and the terrible state of our healthcare system. SIDE has always been around. What does that say? SIDE
I
has
think
always been
sudden
around?
infant death syndrome.
No, that's for infants, Miles. It's a little bit different. It's for adults now. Sudden death for infants has always been
around.
SIDS,
And
but
it's
no.
interesting because less children died of sudden infant syndrome when people weren't going to their doctor's office to get vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
There was a significant drop in SIDS.
Yeah. So you're speaking to somebody, Miles, just to let you know, who has a personal experience with a very severe injury, knowing that that's why I was a little leery with all this stuff, even when it happened. We spent years and years and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and a lot of heartache and pain, tears going into how it affected our lives. So I've been affected by it personally. This isn't just research that I've done on how those types of things can harm us. I've saw it firsthand, and I've had to live it for the last almost 18 years. So I just know through personal experience, that's all. But I also can find the evidence of the current situation that there are more people who are experiencing COVID in hospital and conditions who are vaccinated opposed to those who are not. I know that is a fact. I'll find that. I'll get the stats and we'll have that later. We just got to call a spade a spade. It is what it is. And it is freedom of choice. If you want to go out and get 100 vaccines, you should be able to do that. I think that is your right.
That's
but if
what
you
we all
also
want.
don't want to do that, that should be your right. That's it. Done.
Choice.
Yeah.
My body,
Period.
my choice.
Yeah. Well, it's true when it comes to abortion, right? But it can't be true when it comes to this for some reason. I don't understand.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, wow. We're just talking about all the heavy hitting subjects today. Oh my goodness. Cliff says, I caught COVID a year ago, a fever first, right?
Nice.
That went away fast and then tired for a week and then he got over it. And I have previously 0 doses, precisely 0 doses. There you go. So again, we can all give our personal, and this is a good opportunity and a good forum to have these conversations. Like, I have had 5 and I feel fine. I've had 0. I feel fine. Hey, that's good. Actually, that's what we want. We don't want anyone sick. We don't want anybody having adverse reactions to either the virus or the solution. So if we can all just keep healthy in the ways that we decide to do for ourselves, I think that is the message we're trying to get across here, right? And to have as many options as possible. And so thanks, Nick, for being with us today. I think we had a pretty deep dive conversation right from the get-go.
Yep.
But what else could I expect with when we're having a conversation?
Yep.
It's not going to be surface with a Nick, discussion. Okay, so if you're able to come on anytime, you're welcome, as you know, anytime on this show, Nick. So whenever you're available, come back on. We'll do some more deep diving together. And thanks, everyone, for commenting. We got to go, unfortunately. It's time now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. We'll be back, same time, same place, tomorrow. Remember, town hall meeting tonight, 6:30 to 8:30 in Caperell. We'll do about housing. We'll be back.
Be there.
See ya. Yeah.
Ciao. Bye. Have a great day.
Ciao, everyone.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.